Welcome, everybody, to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thank you, as always, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. It's good to see you. We can't see you, but we can see. So thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Tim Dennis. Brian Hewitt, how's it going?
It's going. It's one of those weeks where it seems like things stack against you. I'm like, this is...
Yeah.
A lot of little things are inconvenient altogether and causing a great deal of inconvenience. And you want to be irritated at somebody, but I'm like, no single one of these people was actually doing anything wrong. They were all just mildly inconvenienced. So I'm having a day of inconvenience, Tim.
If you would like a list, I have plenty of people to blame my inconveniences on. So yeah. I can either alphabetize it or, it depends on how you prefer that.
Have AI generate some nice charts and graph in a very nice little HTML format. I would love that. I do like seeing data. So yeah,
this is how long I've worked with you. This is the level of
annoyance and inconvenience you have caused me. Yes.
If you see here, notice these arcs here. So yeah, but I'm making it through. Crazy
Indeed.
Stuff. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's pretty standard week for me here, so just happy to have a beer and have my microphone working.
Somewhat. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the day goes here. All right, guys. So let's get into our beers of the week, what we're drinking on this week. Brian, you've already divulged to us you opened the wrong beer. So things are all out of whack here, but I'm hoping you can recover. What are you sipping on right now?
This is one of those mild inconveniences that have been stacking up today. So I correctly went to plan and had Creature Comforts Lomo, which is a West Coast pale ale, and apparently a reference to a style of photography and a Russian camera, I guess. Anyway, I looked into it trying to figure out what on earth Lomo was. I thought it was like a type of meat. Anyway, a fine, kind of a rustic tasting pale ale to my taste. I meant to be drinking right now Evil Twins. I always look forward to the Summer of Hedonism, which is a New England IPA double dry hop with Citra and Motueka. But instead, I opened up a Boss Tweed from Old Nation, which I happened to accidentally throw in my little cooler I keep on my desk here. And so that's a double a New England IPA. And it's great. I was talking about it a week or two ago in the Truck and Tap Beer Picks for the week. So it's one I really enjoy. I recommend, and I picked up some recently. So I'm working on that. So I would think I will get into the Evil Twin after this in the after party, or I might get into, depending how brazen, I feel I might get into Bell's Brewery's Citrus Hop Slam, which I bought thinking was just Hop Slam being re-released, saying, oh, again? Okay, cool. And then I looked at it closer when I got home. It's Citrus Hop Slam, which is a double IPA that blends Hop Slam strength with modern Nectaron and Citra hops. So it's a similar but different. It's a flanker of hops.
It sounds tasty. Yeah. It is a flanker. Yeah, good stuff. Nate, what's on deck for you, sir?
All right, so I've only got one in my glass this week from Melbourne Bros All Saints Brewery, which is a subsidiary to Samuel Smith. I've got their Samuel Smith's Organic Raspberry Fruited Ale.
Okay.
A little tart, very fruity. I like the deep color to it. And this was nice. I just went to my local package store looking for singles and found this one.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So I got a box in today, so I have to give a shout out to our friend Jake in Ohio. Like we were talking about a couple weeks ago, I've met so many friends on the internet that if something is needed that's in any major city, I usually know someone who will help me out here. So we've done that. So I reached out to Jake and asked him if he could get us some Third Eye beer. I expected to get a few cans or something like that. But today I arrived. It just arrived a little bit ago, so I haven't even had a chance to ice anything down yet. But a big case, a 12 mix pack of Third Eye Brewing, who from our story last week, we shared that they did extremely well, run, overall champion in the U.S. Open Beer Championship. And we were looking at some information after the show, and they had done, they were Brewery of the Year for the category at GABF in 2025. So they're getting a lot of accolades. My buddy Jake that sent us the beers, he said he's been a big fan of what they were doing, and me requesting those gave him a good excuse to go down and reload his stock of them too. Jake's a stout drinker, so he likes sour beers, but he likes stouts. So he's definitely on board with our stouts, our first summer kind of vibe we're doing here. But we got their mocha. I'll have to get through the list. Like I said, I just got them, so I haven't had time. But within a couple weeks, we'll be featuring some of those on the show here. And like I've got their Enlightenment Blood Orange Wheat Ale right here. So that's one of them. But we've got a good variety of IPAs and stouts and all kinds of good stuff. So
were they brewery of the year for both 2025 and 2026 or just 2025?
So GABF has not happened for 2026 yet.
Oh, GABF, got it.
Yeah. So the US Open Beer Championship, they got that. Right. And then GABF for 2025. Right.
Got it.
That's the scoop. That is the scoop. Good stuff. Well, Brian, some headlines, and unfortunately, we're going to start off with some sad news here that we've lost a legend in the beer industry, one of the OGs of craft beer, Alan Sprintz of Hair of the Dog Brewing, passed away.
Yeah, he unfortunately, visionary legend. He unfortunately passed away this week following a battle with cancer. He is best known as being the founder of Portland, Oregon's Hair of the Dog Brewing, like you said. Decades before waiting in line for beers and beer releases and crazy barrel-aged beers became the norm, Alan Sprintz showed the world that beer could be aged, collected, and savored like fine wine. And he did that the entire time he was doing, beers, basically. He originally moved to Portland in 1988 to become a chef, but after attending the first ever Oregon Brewers Festival, he turned his focus to brewing. Before striking out on his own with Hair of the Dog, Alan worked at Widmer Brothers Brewing, and they famously sued him over a non-compete agreement when he left, because that seems to happen a lot with breweries, especially back in the day. As part of the settlement, he had to promise to never make a Hefeweizen. As far as I can tell, looking at Untapped, and I did, he never did. And honestly, I don't think that was a big loss for him, because Hefeweizen did not seem to be his style of beer, really. But Hair of the Dog's flagship 10% ABV release. This is their flagship. It's a 10%er. It's called Adam. It brought a defunct historic German beer style back from the grave. It was inspired by Michael Jackson's writings about the Adam beer from Dortmund, Germany. Adam beers still aren't a common style today, but Hair of the Dog, their version inspired a lot of other people to try their hand at it, including some local guys here at Cherry Street Brewing. They make something called Dame beer, which I believe they told us was basically their version of Adam. And I'm convinced that this beer is the reason Untapped has an Adam beer category. It's in there under historic beers, because this is such a legendary beer, and enough people started making their own. Alan Sprintz's experimentation with barley wines also greatly influenced present-day barley wines and what we know of them and what we think that they can do. He really opened that up for everybody. A couple of notable examples are his well-known Fred, named after beer writer Fred Eckerts, and Dave, the legendary 29%, 15-year barrel-aged ice-distilled barley wine, which was the strongest beer in the world at the time of its release. And unfortunately, I don't have the exact time of its release because it was never officially exactly for sale. He was basically brewing extreme beers and hype whales before either idea even existed. So back in 2014, a bottle of that Dave barley wine sold for $2,000 at some auction. In the brewery's 29 years in operation, he never tried to go mainstream or appeal to a wider audience. He made the beer he wanted to drink and not what was popular, even when that meant leaving a lot of money on the table. We talked to Alan on the show back in 2018, episode 145, back when Hair of the Dog turned 25. So, give that show a listen if you'd like to hear from him and get his take on what his incredible brewing career and his thoughts on it. Alan Sprintz opted to close Hair of the Dog and retire in June of 2022 instead of selling the brewery. I think he had plenty of opportunities to sell, but he just decided not to. It's kind of his style. But I know he was still selling beers from his cellar via the website well after the brewery officially shut down, because I bought some. Even in retirement, he was still active artistically. He spent some of his final months creating a custom handmade stained glass installation for Portland's iconic Horse Brass Pub ahead of their 50th anniversary. So that's going in. And he died on July 19th at the age of 66.
Big loss there.
Yeah,
definitely very influential in the beer scene there. And like you said, he did what he wanted to do. Wasn't chasing trends or anything like that. And it served him well. We know a lot of the old guys in the local beer scene, know him well. And we had a good time having him on the show. I remember when he agreed to do the show, I was pretty thrilled, So someone like that getting those kind of guys there. It's always nice to have guys of that caliber join us on the show, get their insight on things.
It's kind of incredible. It's like everything he did, it's like he predicted the future, or maybe he just made the future happen by what he did. It's wild. Yeah. His influence is crazy
there. Wild stuff. Yeah, definitely a loss. Well, Brian, if there's one thing that we love, it's when we mix our beer and politics and taxes and all that good stuff. So always a fun time here, but beer tariffs, just crazy stuff, but they may have pretty unexpected ally.
Yeah. This is a wild story. So Mexican lagers may be getting more expensive very soon, I guess, again, because I think they already got hit with some tariffs earlier. If the Teamsters get their way. Yeah. The Teamsters union is asking Washington to enact big tariffs on Mexican beer imports. How big? They're talking about tariffs as big as 75% on Mexican beer. 75%. Their reason for doing so is they say American workers can brew the exact same recipes here in the U.S. and save brewery jobs. In the crosshairs specifically are beers like Modelo, Corona, Pacifico, and Tecate. The union argues that Mexico's dominance in the U.S. beer market is built on unfair Mexican government subsidies and low labor costs. Mexican beer production has skyrocketed by 85% since 2014, with the vast majority of it, being poured directly into the American market. So while Mexican exports have surged, U.S. breweries have seen their capacity utilization drop from 82% in 2013 down to 65% in 2023. Big commercial breweries are planning massive expansions in Mexico as well over the next 5 years, threatening even more domestic slowdowns, they warn. Reportedly adding as much as another 19 to 23 million hectoliters of capacity over the next 5 years in Mexico. And that's 19 to 23 million hectoliters that will not be brewed in the U.S. by the Teamsters, or so they see it. So I'm surprised by this news, but I also kind of get that what the point is they're trying to make. I just didn't expect these guys to be the ones making this point, but I don't know. What do you think of this? It's just kind of an unusual story.
I'm kind of with you, Brian. I am never a fan of going the legal route to make your competitors work at a detriment there, basically. Whether it's, I'm all about making laws that level the playing field. Like we've talked a lot about our third tier system. Let breweries sell their beer. Let breweries self-distribute in that. If they talk about, we've had the fight here in Georgia where the distributors talk about how it's going to hurt them and hurt their business. And I don't want to hurt anybody's business or see anybody's business hurt. But if leveling the playing field to allow a business to sell their own product hurts you, we shouldn't be protecting that with laws, basically. Making someone else's product cost 75% more is, it's tough. Seeing the Teamsters get behind it, they're fighting for American beer. And Brian, we've fought for craft beer against big beer and all of it. And again, it comes out that a lot of it is not necessarily a level playing field. But I don't think you should have to. I don't think you should get an advantage over the competition there. Make a better product, market a better product, make it affordable, whatever you got to do there. I don't disagree wholly with tariffs in general, because I do know that in some countries it is extremely inexpensive to make things. But I also don't agree with blanket massive tariffs to where it's just ridiculous. Level the field, Brian. That's what level the field there. So yeah, it's looking outside of beer. One reason China became the Chinese made goods. They're cheap. Yeah. So they crank them out. So, we put some tariffs on there where pricing is equivalent to U.S. pricing. And then, things are a little more balanced. So that's my rambling answer to this. I don't believe in making a change legally to put the other guy to detriment. But if you do it to level the field, that's different.
It kind of seems like this is ignoring an entire side of the story. Like, I like the idea of let's bring the brewing jobs back to the U.S., but what we're doing is we are making the thing harder and more expensive on the consumer. This story is basically completely ignoring the fact that people who love this beer are about to have to pay 75% more. And where is that money going to? It's just going into a government slush fund somewhere. I don't know what it's doing. Like is it going to get paid for? Is it going to be spent on good things? No, probably not. It's the government. They waste money in golden toilet flush handles, that kind of thing. Paper clips that cost $50 a pop. I'm like, they do crap like that. So no, it's not a good idea. So it does. I get the gist of it, but I hadn't even thought of it until you started talking. Like, yeah, we're ignoring the entire. How does it affect me as a consumer? I'm like, I'm the one that's going to get the shaft here. I'm like, that's right. At the end saying things. Yeah, Mexico probably a little bit too. It's going to hurt their business as well. I mean, obviously, but yeah, I mean that is something worth considering. So,
and if you even look at it, Brian, just using this, let's say a 6-pack of a Mexican lager is $5, and I'm going to use that for easy math here. And let's say a 6-pack of a comparable American beer is $6. So if they enact these 75% tariffs and that Mexican beer is now a $7 6-pack, then I'm sure the thinking is American beer drinkers are going to go for the competitor's $6 6-pack over the $7 Mexican. The end result is the consumer is still having to pay $1 more per 6-pack because of that. So
it's true.
Sure. You know what? It may work out to drive people over to American beer, but just like you said, Brian, the consumer's still the one that's going to lose in the end here. So, because if they were to make it to where it just made the prices equal, then people are going to still choose the beer that they've already been drinking. So
true. Yeah.
Most of them will.
There's one story, and I did not include it in. I didn't really read into it too deeply because it's kind of a follow-up, but on the other side of the border, Trump is already threatening another 50% tariff on Canadian beer. It's kind of related to that story last week. I didn't include it because it's just like he jumped the gun on that. Was it the U.S.? There's a U.S. office. I don't have the notes in front of me, but they were going to inspect what's happening from Canada and see if they're doing unfair, discriminatory, and harmful trade practices. Trump is not even waiting for that to pass. He's already throwing around a possible 50% tariff. So that war that's happening north of the border, that's also going down too. So there's more shots fired on that. Yeah. So not a lot of new information, but yeah.
That's been the big problem with it is it hasn't been thought out. It's always just I'm angry and this is the response. If a lot of this, if they sat down, they did some math and they enacted some reasonable things, then it would have been all good, but that's not the way we do things in America right now.
We were told there would be no math in this, Tim.
So, we were told there would be no math, and most people believe there would be by the way they reacted to this. So, crazy stuff. Well, Brian, moving on to something a little bit better up in Vermont, some more a legal win there for the brewers in Vermont.
Yeah, small craft breweries they've scored a big win this month. Vermont rolled out a brand new beer distribution rule on July 1st that cut through major red tape for local breweries. I think we may have talked about this in the show leading up to this, but it actually passed. Under the updated rules, small breweries can sell their products straight to local grocery stores, bottle shops, and restaurants. The new law caps self-distribution at 3,000 barrels a year, meaning this perk is tailored specifically for smaller local operations. This is not going to change things for the larger breweries. It's a non-entity for them. And honestly, the larger breweries, the amount of stuff that they have to do, the logistics of it, probably makes sense for them to use a distributor anyway. But before this law, small breweries had to use third-party distributors, which usually didn't make financial sense for them with their small production volumes. Or if that brewer did want to handle their own distribution, they had to pay a $1,200 annual fee for a wholesale permit and fill out the paperwork to sell the beer to themselves as a wholesaler. And this is taxes involved in this too, before selling it to their customer. So they had to sell it to themselves officially before they could sell it to their customer, which is patently ridiculous. This is something that can only possibly come up as a result of weird, bizarre government. But now all this, all it takes is a nominal fee because, of course, why wouldn't you still have to pay a fee to sell your own product? And brewers can haul their beer straight to their local retail accounts. The Vermont Brewers Association fought for 3 years to get this policy across the finish line, and kudos for them on the win. I mean, it is frankly bizarre that you have to pay any kind of a fee at all to sell your product, but the situation is much better than it was before. It's a lot less of a headache. It's going to keep some people in business. So it's an absolute win. And I'm not trying to take anything away from the Vermont Brewers Association or the craft brewers in Vermont. So good job, guys. Congratulations.
Yeah. Beer laws. What fun they are. Now, Brian, you mentioned a small fee or nominal fee. It was $1,200 fee before for the wholesale permit. Do you know if it's less or the same? Did you see any hard numbers there?
I think it's less, but I don't have the article that I got from I think it was vermontpublic.org did not specify what the fee was. It gave the impression that it was like, instead of $1,200, it might have been, in the hundreds, so like a factor of a smaller percentage of the number. But yeah, still there's going to be some. My guess is it may still have to do with, whatever costs there are for filing paperwork, which, again, why do we need to file paperwork for this? Just let them sell the beer. But anyway.
Good old administrative fees. Good stuff, man. Well, Brian, something that's always fun to see what happens each year has come up. It's that time of year again. And, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit here. We talked about with our Patreon supporters, we were chatting on there about the Oktoberfest coming out. We've talked about it some here. They have been spotted. On the shelves there. So, which they've probably been out there a little bit longer than I realized. But Coach Rogers, he shared a picture. He looked very disgruntled in the picture, standing in front of big stacks of Oktoberfest beer in July. So they are officially out. But another thing that is officially out that we actually won't see for a few more months, 3, 4, 5 more months, I think, before we'll see this. But
it's about right.
Goose Island has announced their 2026 Bourbon County lineup.
Yeah, that time again. The official announcement has happened, and I think it does always happen around this time in July. It's moved a little bit back and forth, but and even though we're lucky if we get more than a single variant each year in Georgia, I still like talking about it because, the annual release is, the announcement is a tradition. It feels like a special event. And these days, beer needs special events. We still need, things to look forward to. So here's the lineup. We won't get too distracted. Bourbon County brand original stout, of course. That's always going to be there. And then we'll have tiramisu cask finish stout, which is going to be aged with espresso, cocoa nibs, and vanilla. Apple crisp stout, which will feature apples, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, oats, and panela sugar. Proprietor stout, triple oak barley wine, and toasted barrel rye stout. And now for a few of the highlights about these releases. The ABV of the original stout is down a bit from last year. It's 14.2% down from 14.8%. Unfortunately, that means that we won't see it here in Georgia again this year, unless distributors, more of them, start doing that thing where they ignore our ridiculous ABV cap and kind of sneak some beers in. Seen it happen. It does happen. I don't think it's supposed to, and they're getting away with it, and maybe I shouldn't say anything. But with this, I think it's too high profile, and it'll never happen, but maybe. Fingers crossed. I do not have, and I've looked at a few articles, I do not have ABVs from the other releases. I think historically they have only given us usually the original one, the ABV of that, and a lot of these other ones are based off of that. So they're probably going to be pretty similar, but some of them usually come in a little lower. So sometimes as low as 12%. So we may get some of those, maybe like one of the barley wines. But anyway, the original stout will again come in 4 packs of 10 ounce bottles, not 12, rather than the traditional format of the single 16.9 ounce bottle. All the other releases are going to come in that 16.9 ounce bottle. The tiramisu cask finish stout marks a big first for Bourbon County. It's apparently the first time their stout has ever gone into rum barrels, if you can believe that. I didn't. I tried to look around on Untappd to verify. I didn't find any evidence of them ever using a rum barrel, so I got to believe them on that one. But at some point, I did find that at one point in the past, they did come out with a stout that did go into a rum barrel, but it was not Bourbon County. Anyway, the Chicago exclusive proprietor stout is taking on the pineapple upside down cake. It was aged with pineapple, Montmorency cherries. Those cherries again. People love those cherries. And panela sugar. As for the triple oak barley wine, it spends time in bourbon barrels and then is then finished in barrels made from 3 different oak species, Chinquapin, French, and Hungarian oak, hence the name. And I've heard of French and Hungarian oak. I've never heard of the other one, so hopefully I said that one right. And finally, the toasted rye a toasted barrel rye stout spent time in 2 rye whiskey barrels from Elijah Craig. One of them was more toasted than the other. And as always, the actual release date of Bourbon County beers is Black Friday. So we're just hearing about what's going to come out. You have to wait till Black Friday to actually drink them. So
soon, whether we realize it or not. You really, once you get into the back half of the year, it just really flies by. Possibly because Christmas stuff starts coming out like right as they pull the lawnmowers off the shelf at Walmart and put up the Christmas trees, basically. So
yeah, I want to say that I've already seen some reference to Christmas that's like I can't even believe it. Other than like Christmas in July, which is a thing I've been doing. So
Well, one of the towns in Metro Atlanta already did like a Facebook event page for their holiday spectacular or whatever. So
that's what it was.
Making sure to get it out there. I'm like, come on, y'all. This is just insane. Well, Brian,
so if you could get your hands on any one of these that are coming out, which one sounds the most interesting to you?
If I had to pick only one, Brian, if I truly had to pick only one, it would be Proprietors. And I'd have to get that. But if we take Proprietors out of the mix, I think that I would want to go with the Tiramisu cask finish stout. But as I was looking at that, it got me thinking about the triple oak barley wine, which also is tempting. But Brian, since you're pressuring me and threatening me here,
I am threatening so much.
I'm gonna say the tiramisu. I would like to try.
I'm kind of debating the same too. I'm like, I love the espresso coconuts vanilla. I love the idea of that. The triple oak though, that's intriguing. All right, Mo Magnate, I won't leave you out. Which one do you want?
So leaving out Proprietors, I'm going to deviate and say yes, tiramisu, but I'm also contemplating the apple crisp stone.
That sounds interesting to me, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would love to try that because I don't think I've had anything like that before. But yeah, Brian, kind of like you said, coffee, cocoa, I'm assuming kind of something that brings the mascarpone, the sweet mascarpone component there. Tiramisu and a beer, I would get that and I would make tiramisu with that beer.
Oh, okay.
Like, think about that. Tiramisu, there's layers to this tiramisu. And then when I did that, I would take that tiramisu and make a beer with it.
Age it in a barrel and then make a beer with it.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the one.
I just, so Mo Magnate, when are you going to make your run up to one of the other states without this stupid cap on it and go get a bunch of these for me?
Last year I went up on Black Friday, so why not do it again this year?
All right. Yeah, we'll plan on it.
I made my way to
Knoxville in Chicago, but the last time I asked someone I think it was 2 years ago, I asked somebody to get me the Bourbon counties, and they said yeah, and then I just never heard from them. So we got stood up on those. But I think some of those require, like especially Proprietors, I think sometimes those require waiting in lines and all that wild stuff.
And Proprietors is Chicago only, so it's got such a small market, and it's it is. So the Bourbon County stuff doesn't move as quickly as it once did, but Chicago's a big beer town. They've got a big population there that still loves this stuff, and so it's still going to sell pretty well. But
I think Ohio has a decent AB. I don't think they have an ABV limit. I think I remember talking to them before that there's no. So again, I'm going to pressure my buddy Jake, who already loves stouts. He probably doesn't know about these because he said he drinks mostly local stuff. So I'll tell him about how awesome these are, and I'll ask him to pick up, a couple extras.
Even if he only gets to try Proprietors, I want him to try it and tell us what he thinks about it.
Well, he's not in Chicago.
Oh, he's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Ohio.
He could get to Chicago though.
He could. Yeah, it's closer for him than it is for us, I think. I think it is.
Is it unreasonable to ask him to do a road trip? I don't think so. I don't think so. No. So, I mean, he was one that I tried to get me to get that KBS because he said he was going to Michigan. So I did ask him to go. I ended up having to go to somebody else because he let me down there. But, the guy literally only stopped at like 10 or 12 liquor stores and couldn't find it. So he gave up. So disappointing. Yeah.
How dare he?
Terrible. Yeah. Well, guys, before we move along, how about we give a shout out to our good friends at Truck and Tap?
Yes. I was browsing Truck and Tap. Woo, wow. Truck and Tap social. This is what happens when you get into Boss Tweed too early in the day. Anyway, yeah, I was browsing Truck and Tap's social media this week, and I saw a post that reminded me that Truck and Tap has canned beer offerings too. Yes, beer in actual cans, which sounds crazy to me, but here we are. That's on top of the 20 taps of great craft beer at each location. If you don't see Tropicalia or Classic City Lager or Delirium Tremens or PBR on the tap list, don't worry about it. Those are a few of their latest canned craft beer options. I guess PBR isn't craft, but is it? I don't think so. Anyway, they're canned beer options at Truck and Tap, which is especially handy if you visit a location in an entertainment district where you can, take your beer to go. A walking around beer, if you will. And if you do that, make sure you bring a koozie, It's good. It's just good thinking there. But for the rest of us, let's take a look at the tap list and a little something I like to call my Truck and Tap beer picks for the week. At Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with Tall Kiwi from Other Half. Surprise, surprise, Tall Kiwi is a New England IPA. You would never have expected that from Other Half, a New England IPA, but it's brewed with Citra, Nectaron, and Rawaka hops, and promises to delight your senses with passion fruit, sweet peach, and orange notes. I've had this one before from a can, and as I recall, it's quite good, so I will have this on tap if I have a chance. At the Duluth location, I am getting West Coast Sioux from Toppling Goliath. From the name, you can probably guess this is a good old West Coast style IPA, or at least it claims to be, but the description mentions tropical fruit notes, so I'm a little suspicious here. It's hopped with Citra and Mosaic, so even if they miss the West Coast mark on this one, it's going to be a good beer, probably a good IPA. May not be as West Coasty as they try to tell you it is, but at Truck and Tap Alfredo, my pick is Allagash's Once Upon an Orchard Golden Raspberries. I've never even heard of this one before, and I'm intrigued. It's described as an oak-aged raspberry blonde wild ale. And the ABV is a little higher than you might expect from your typical wild ale. It comes in at 8.2%. I kind of thought Allagash stopped putting beers like this into distribution. They were taproom only or brewery only type of thing. So I'm happy to see it, and I really want to try this one. And finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with Creature Comforts Automatic. All the talk of the canned Creature Comforts beer earlier on here got me thinking about it and got me wanting to drink it again. I haven't done that in a while. So this is the one that used to be a pale ale, and it quietly transformed into an IPA, and nobody didn't tell anybody. It just did it. And while I think the pale ale version of it is the better of the two, I still enjoy the IPA when I have a chance to drink it. So I would like to get this one again and drink it again. And there you have my beer picks for the week. So get out there and have a beer or two. And as always, if you'd like to see the full tap list before stopping by, take a look at truckandtap.com. The taps do change quickly, and you never know what great new beer might go on and which one of these might sell out. And if you'd like to see what the food trucks are serving, what events are happening, what other interesting canned beers they've just gotten in, or interesting bourbons for that matter, or interesting cocktails, or trivia, karaoke, live music, all that neat stuff, you can also find that at truckandtap.com, which links to the social media if you don't see it there. Everything you need to know can be found at truckandtap.com, so check it out. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
Thank you, Truck and Tap. We appreciate it. Brian, our next story, I swear I think I promised we would never mention another news story with this brewery in.
So, did we?
I don't know. Not we, me. Like, you keep bringing them up, and I think that I swore them off, but it's here, and we're going to talk about it. And I just hate giving them so much press, especially this dude here. James Watt's back. Brewdog's back in the news. So we're going to talk about. Brian's going to talk about it. I'm not going to say me because this is all Brian's fault. James Watt has made another bid to buy Brewdog.
Yeah, I think I do have the sense for like I'm being used, but I'm going to go with it. Just this one time.
Okay.
Probably again in the future. I don't know. Yeah. It's been a few weeks since James Watt was last in the news, and I don't think he can stand the lack of attention. I think it's driving him insane. Brewdog co-founder James Watt is back trying to buy the craft beer giant he helped build just months after selling it to Tilray. This is actually his second attempt to buy Brewdog. 5 months ago, he tried and failed during the administration sale of the brewery. Watt announced that he formally submitted a reacquisition offer to Tilray using Second Best, a brand new brand that he launched back in May. And the financial terms of the offer are being kept under wraps. You have to assume he's offering more than the 41 million pounds, or about 54.5 million US dollars that Tilray paid only 5 months ago for the brand. Not to mention that on top of that, Tilray has been spending big money to stabilize BrewDog. They reportedly have spent around 50 million pounds, or about $67 million, to turn things back around to stabilize the facilities and everything like that. Should Watt, Second Best, and some unnamed partner that are somehow involved here buy the brand back, he has pledged to restore employees' equity shares and BrewDog's status as an accredited living wage paying employer. Additionally, he promises equity for Punk's investors will get back their share of ownership as well. He's making a lot of promises. I feel like this is never going to happen. But anyway, as for the Second Best brand, if the bid is unsuccessful, the brand will continue as is. He'll do whatever he was planning to do with that anyway. If Tilray agrees to the deal, Second Best will be rolled into and become part of BrewDog, and honestly, it'll probably disappear is what I'm guessing, but I don't know that for sure. This really seems like a long shot. It could be, more about getting some free press than making a serious offer, which seems likely. But if Watt can come up with the 41 million pounds back when the brewery was sold, is he really going to be able to come up with the 100 million plus pounds it would probably take to buy now? And you have to, it's probably even more expensive than that, because Tilray already has contracts in place to brew Carlsberg at BrewDog facilities now. So I think there's a lot going on here. You're going to have to pay them a lot to unwind all this, but everything is for sale, I think, in this kind of at this level. So who knows? Maybe he can pull it off.
Maybe so. Only time will tell, Brian. Only time will tell. Yeah, so that's enough of that. I'm not even going to have any input because I just don't care anymore what James Watt does with BrewDog or what BrewDog does. So,
yeah,
do you have anything you want to add here, sir? Any commentary on this one?
This guy just can't seem to let the brand go. I was happy to hear that they were stabilizing under the Tilray buyout, and excited for them to land this Carlsberg contract. Wish him the best, and may the more responsible business owner come out ahead.
May the force be with them always. Good stuff. All right, Brian. Well, moving along here. Just an amazing story here. Twisted Tea has a new wild marketing angle, Brian.
Yes, they do. And yeah. All right. I won't say anymore. I'll just get right into it. Twisted Tea says they're leaning hard into real world adult milestones by dropping some limited edition packaging designed specifically for couples that are breaking up. That's right. Couples that are breaking up. They want some of that money and that attention. They call what they're producing the split pack. It's a 12-pack of beer of Twisted Tea, that tears cleanly down the middle into 2 6-packs, which are labeled yours and mine. Their thinking is that as summer wraps up, a lot of relationships end up wrapping up with it. Apparently, there was some NPR report on this being a common occurrence recently, and that was Twisted Tea's inspiration from it. They were listening to that. It's like, let's get into that. That's the thing we need to be focusing on. So the idea of a tear-apart 12-pack that, the idea behind that is it will help you cleanly split your assets with your ex. Again, I'm not kidding about this. The senior brand brand marketing director, I'll get that out of my mouth here, Erica Taylor, noted that this is because fans invite the brand to weddings and tag them in big life moments. Because of that, they want it to be there when plans fall apart too. So they want to be there for the good times and the bad times. And because splitting up can be expensive, Twisted Tea is also giving away $5,000 to one buyer to help cover everything from legal fees to the costs of moving into a new apartment. Again, this is in the press release. I'm not even kidding about this. If you're going through a rough patch in your romantic life and would like to get your hands on the split pack, you can buy it from the Give Them Beer website. It'll set you back $18, but every purchase through August 4th will enter you in that contest for $5,000. I gotta say, though, the marketing angle is definitely highly questionable. The idea of a 12-pack you can easily split with somebody isn't necessarily a bad idea, so long as the 12-pack price ends up being cheaper than 2 6-packs. But this is wild. What do you guys think? Is this in bad taste? Do you think they're going to have some backlash over this, or is this just like, okay, haha, this is good?
I think it's tacky. I mean, I think
Right?
it's like, who would want to come into like, okay, being serious. I heard that they're making this thing to market to people splitting up, divorcing, whatever, makes it easy to split. And I'm like, who would want to market towards that? Like, and I'm sure they're like, it's tongue in cheek, it's this and that. Okay, all right, but I just it doesn't make me think any higher of Twisted Tea. And I didn't necessarily I had an indifferent opinion of them, and now I think they're a little tacky. So that's my thoughts on this.
Yeah, I don't hate the tear apart idea, but like tying your brand to like bad experiences and unhappy times. If that was what you were drinking when you broke up, are you going to want to keep drinking that, or is that just good?
Yeah.
That leaves a bad taste in your mouth? I mean,
so I don't know, man. Interesting angle to go for a marketing campaign, but oh well. Let's see how it works out for him there.
You have any thoughts on this, Mike, Nate?
Well, realistically, the only cool thing about this is the evenly splitting up a 12-pack. Not that we really needed like a new proprietary packaging way to split up a 12-pack besides just ripping it open and handing them out. But I agree with Tim. It's just tacky. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth thinking about pressing in this direction.
So does it the split pack? And I'm here trying to find, I'm trying to find some pictures of it. Like, does the pack just break in half? Is it designed where you can split it and they stay neatly in their own little 6-packs? Is it? Are we just talking that these guys perforated a box and that's that?
It's kind of like that. It's custom printing. So, and on one side, this is yours, mine, and they're 2 different colors. Honestly, I thought about it, and I think the idea is they really are 2 like enclosed boxes that split apart from one main box. I haven't seen them split in half. I've only ever seen it together. But the first thing I thought of was like, oh, this is cool. So when Mike Nate goes up on a muling expedition up to Tennessee or South Carolina to pick up some beers from a state that has some sense in their heads about, ABVs and things like that, he can just get a 12-pack and we could just split the beer in half. He'd tear it apart right there. I'm like, that would be easy. And we don't even have to get into a relationship and break up. Like, we could just split the beers. That'd be nice. I thought it was a neat idea, and it would be a neat convenience thing. This is just a weird spin to put on what could be an interesting packaging variation or an innovation that could be. And I don't know how much more expensive it is to do this. Maybe it is annoyingly expensive, but kind of handy. You could just grab 6 of them to go and leave the other 6 at home or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, they could have called it the sharing is caring pack or something like that.
They could have totally done that. Yes.
Why go this angle with it? But who knows? Let's keep an eye on Twisted Tea Cells and see how this works out for them. So very, very interesting angle there. All
Indeed.
Right. Interesting stuff. Well, y'all, a little quick episode this week, but we do appreciate you hanging out with us. We always enjoy having you here. If you enjoy what we're doing, we'd love you to tell a friend to tune into the show. Check us out. See what's going on. If you really like what we're doing, please go to patreon.com/beerguys and, give us some support. Little as $5 a month. We'd appreciate it. Every bit helps. And for that, we're going to get you into our Patreon, our Discord chat, our Patreon only Discord chat. We'll invite you to the after parties here after the show each week, and we'll send you out some cool swag. With all that said, we hope that you have a really good week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers.